Hello, Off-Worlders. Despite us saying we were going to not do any videos for a month or two, we found a little tiny bit of time to make a short couple of videos on two things that have been asked of us specifically. Some people have asked us, heard of various messages asking us to talk about the M Drive news and the big old explosion with SpaceX, the rapid unscheduled disassembly. So we thought it's not really part of a big show. It's not part of the normal. We're not doing
we just couldn't keep ourselves away from you guys,
show.
Basically.
Yeah, so we're just going to do a couple of small kind of topics.
Yeah.
A short little video.
Just a taster, like a amuse-bouche.
Yeah, for the main course that's not coming.
Yeah. It's coming a long time in the future.
In a few months.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
So SpaceX Amos-6 launch was meant to happen Saturday, which is today, I believe. Anyway, Saturday, and they were running a static fire, which is like a routine test of basically all the launch systems. Leading up to the actual ignition of the engines, and they've done this for every launch, pretty much every Falcon 9 launch, I think.
Yeah, sure.
And during the fueling for this static fire, it
went to shit.
It blew up in the most spectacular explosion I think I've ever seen.
Go watch it if you have not seen it.
So say what you like about we'll talk about the actual ramifications of this, but fucking hell, rockets can explode.
Yeah, it's a pretty explosion. Yeah. It's crazy just because it seems like the explosion starts somewhere, and I think they've come out and said that it seems to be something to do with the LOX tank at the top, somewhere in the second stage. It ignites, the whole rocket just blows up, and then at some point later the satellite just you see the payload basically fall through and then just get destroyed.
That just goes up in flames as well.
And the launch pad's probably quite heavily damaged. Yeah,
well, that's the strong back, like the arm thing that holds the rocket up, that raises it to vertical and all that stuff. It's just trash. It's like sagging over by the end of the video. But yeah, if you haven't seen the video, which I'm sure a lot of you have, definitely go and watch it. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Right. So what happened then? It seems to be it seems to be something to do with the upper stage.
Yeah.
Again, the second, both accidents with the SpaceX vehicle Falcon 9 have happened related to the second stage, haven't they?
Yeah.
The first time they think it was to do with some struts inside which support.
I think they're pretty sure that that's what it was.
Yeah.
So, some struts that were basically internal.
Support the structure.
Was it inside the helium? Because you have helium to basically repressurize as the liquid oxygen is depleted. It was inside the helium tank or inside anyway. It was inside the tank in some way, and the strut failed, which meant like there's a massive depressurization of the tank.
Yeah, and it disintegrated.
Yeah.
So,
but this was before they'd even lit the engine, so it was during the fueling.
This most recent one.
This most recent one, yeah. So that might suggest that it was caused by the ground systems, the actual like fueling systems and stuff on the launch pad, rather than the vehicle itself, which would probably be better for SpaceX if that was the case.
Yeah, if there's a whole problem with something to do with, I don't know, the integrity of that tank. And that they're going to have to re-engineer, rebuild. It's going to delay their launches quite significantly.
Yeah, I mean, last time it was like a 6-month delay. I mean, and I think that was seen in the industry as being pretty quick return to flight. So, I mean, it would be, you'd push everything back to 6 months basically at least, if that was a vehicle issue.
Yeah, there's nothing to suggest at the moment necessarily that the two incidents are related. I mean, they happened at totally different times.
Yeah.
But they are both related to the second stage, which is slightly disconcerting, I imagine, for SpaceX.
Yeah. It's good that it wasn't, like one of the old like landed boosters. It was a brand new vehicle, so it hadn't flown already.
Is that good?
I think it is, because if it was one of the, so say they because they had planned this. There's an upcoming launch where they were going to fly one of the first time they were actually going to reuse one of their landed boosters. It was going to be later this year. It's probably going to get delayed now. But if it was that one that had gone up, then that would probably like be bad news for their reusability plans. I don't know. The fact that it's a new vehicle is sort of better in that sense.
Yeah, but people are going to give. There's more leeway. It's an engineering challenge, isn't it, to refly a booster? That's something that's not been done before into orbit.
Yeah, so there would be more leeway.
So
People would be
if they blow a rocket up doing that, it's kind of like, okay, let's work out what happened, try again, as opposed to this thing that's supposed to be able to do it now quite consistently, blowing up on the launch pad.
Yeah.
I think it's worse for the company that it's that way round, but. Yeah, maybe if it was a
just me personally, I just want to see the reusability work. So
sure. No, I understand.
But it is, it is bad. Like, so this is what sort of it's about 15 months or something since their last incident. Yeah. So it's two failures in less than 2 years. I mean, it's if you look at things like the ULA's Atlas rocket.
Sure.
I think when that had like 4 failures within its first sort of like 15 flights or something.
Is that right?
Okay. I think so. I mean, the numbers might not be exactly that, but but since then it's been obviously really, really reliable.
Yeah.
So if you think about it like that, then SpaceX have had something like 28 launches for the Falcon 9 and 2 failures.
Yeah.
So you'd hope that obviously you'd hope that tails off, but
it's not great.
It's not great. It's something like 7 or 8% failure rate.
Yeah,
which isn't amazing.
No. I mean, yes, they're competing they're a lot cheaper, but a lot of particularly military launches are very much focused on reliability.
Yeah, they're almost not that bothered about the cost in a way.
Not so much. So that's why they have stuck to still using a lot of the Delta rockets and things. I mean, they obviously are concerned about cost.
Yeah, but if you have like a payload that's billions of dollars, like a $100 million launch, the difference between like a $60 million and $100 million launch,
or it's got a strategic thing that you need to get done at it's fine if it's great at great cost.
Yeah,
then they might end up picking the older sort of more tried and tested rockets like the Deltas. So not a great day for SpaceX, unfortunately.
No,
I imagine they all had a heart attack when they saw it happening.
There was loads of pictures because it's when the news sort of broke of it, and before it was officially confirmed what had happened. There was all these pictures on Reddit and other places of just from a distance, like shit. Something's obviously happened here, like just a giant plume of smoke going up from Kennedy Space Center. It's like, this isn't good.
Yeah.
There was somebody again on the SpaceX Reddit subreddit. Somebody, and I don't know if they said they worked for SpaceX or they worked at Kennedy Space Center or something, but someone in there saying, "Oh yeah, this is definitely a Launchpad issue."
Oh right.
And it was just like a comment in the thread, and it's like I can't say like exactly how I know that, but it's definitely a Launchpad issue. So I mean, if that's actually true, then
this person, he or she said that they said they think it's that, and they then said I work. How do you people then question them, right?
Yeah. They said, okay, how do you know that? Like, what's your source? And he's like, oh, I work. I can't remember if the person said they worked at SpaceX or if they used to work at SpaceX or worked, I can't remember off the top of my head.
They had some insider knowledge, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. This is the great thing about Reddit because it's all anonymous. So this person could just be like, yeah, I'm just going to put that info out there.
Sure, yeah. If it's true.
If it's true. And we'll find out. I mean, SpaceX have done their normal thing of saying we're looking through thousands of telemetry channels, passing, whatever, milliseconds of data.
Doing all the data.
So they'll come back. Hopefully the launch pad itself isn't too destroyed.
Yeah, and I think depending on what the fault is going to determine how long exactly this holds them back for. Last time you said it was 6 months. If it's a vehicle problem, it could be a long time. Again, it could be another 6 months.
Yeah.
But if it's a launch pad problem, like a fueling problem, they realise that there's something, the way it locks on needs to be better sealed or something like that. It's a setback, but it wouldn't be as a longer period of time. I would
potentially
imagine.
Easier to upgrade, I guess. And they've got other pads as well that could be, brought into use before that one gets repaired.
Sure.
So they'd probably return. You'd think they'd return to flight sooner if that was the case.
Yes.
Even this year. I mean, who knows? We're totally speculating at this point. But yeah, I mean, it certainly means things like the Falcon Heavy launch is going to get pushed back
a little bit more. Yeah.
That's probably less crucial than the commercial crew stuff. That's a real important milestone for them coming up in the next sort of year or so, and that's probably going to get delayed now as a result of this. So it's always going to who's going to it's that question, who's going to get there first? ULA with their crew vehicle or SpaceX? Who's going to be the first commercial company to fly astronauts to the ISS? And this.
I forget what the schedules are like for the other people though.
I think ULA came out and said that they cannot, or Boeing. Is it ULA or is it just Boeing? I can't remember. I think it's Boeing building the Starliner.
The Starliner is Boeing, isn't it?
I think so. They actually came out and said they won't be ready before 2018, and SpaceX said they're still on track for 2017. But this
it's going to be touch and go.
They're probably not anymore.
Touch and go, yeah. They did say that they think if the crew had been on board the Falcon 9 at that time, that the launch escape system would have rescued them from this disassembly.
Yeah.
Like they said for the previous one as well.
Yeah, I mean that is the point of it, I guess.
Yeah.
So you'd hope that would work.
Yeah, unless it. Yeah.
I know. So. Yeah.
Unless they're fueling that thing. Although they don't fuel that thing that way, do they?
Yeah, what is the fuel for that? I don't know. The super Dracos. I'm not sure.
They're hypergolic, aren't they? They're where you, instead of an oxidant and a fuel, you just mix two things together that ignite on their own.
Yeah, it's like hydrazine or something, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't actually know.
Yeah, it is that.
Yeah.
So you don't fuel it in that way, basically.
Yeah, but yeah, so this is one of the things about their fueling systems, SpaceX. Like, so all of the Soyuz launches, Space Shuttle, Saturn V, all that stuff were fueled fully before the astronauts got on board. Yeah. Whereas with the SpaceX, how they do things, with their super like deep cryo locks and all that stuff, they have to be fueling it right up to like T-3 minutes.
Yeah.
So the astronauts are all going to be on board while it's still fueling. And obviously, if there's things like this that can happen, NASA and whoever else are flying humans up, them aren't going to be...
They've got to be ready to bail.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an interesting, slight dynamic change in the way that they normally set up these things. The crew might have to be sat on the rocket for longer. They're more at risk, potentially, for a longer period of time using that setup.
Yeah, possibly. Although you'd think that with this abort system, that...
You can get out anyway, but you don't want to be firing that thing if you don't. I mean, it's not like an ejector seat where it, destroys your spine a bit, but you
probably in a bit of an intense ride, though, I'd imagine.
You just don't want to be having those accidents with people on board, if you can avoid it.
Of course.
Yeah. So any way you can minimise that danger and separate the time, sort of reduce the risk for any human crew on board, the better, I guess. So it's not an ideal thing, but I guess that's one of the reasons why companies weren't looking. Other companies haven't tried this deep cryo lock thing, because it's a massive pain in the arse.
Yeah, it's a pain in the arse. Yeah.
It sounds like SES, which are the people that are going to refly a booster with SpaceX, they're going to have something put on an old booster.
Yeah, that news came out just a few days before this incident.
What?
They announced that they'd agreed. They'd signed the deal basically to be the first customer to use a reflown booster, which is super exciting news, obviously.
Yeah.
But then,
but they said they're still cool with it.
But they said they're fine. They're not reconsidering. They're just totally cool with it.
Same with NASA.
Okay. I mean, the actual customers tend to be basically the whole space is hard thing.
Yes.
We appreciate, SpaceX are very professional about all of the stuff. They'll sort it out. We're not worried. But of course, the critics, SpaceX critics, take the opportunity to be
Facebook Facebook fucking pissed off.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, you can't help, you can understand that. How much was that satellite? It was an expensive thing, wasn't it? Yeah. It was a satellite they had bought some time on, right, to provide internet to...
South America, was it?
No, Africa.
Was it Africa?
Southern Africa?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And so that capability is now lost, and the work they put into that is... somewhat lost.
Yeah, I mean, you'd assume that the satellite's insured, right?
Yes, but so. I don't really know how this sort of thing works, to be honest. And
I've read some discussion about how the insurance. There's different insurance, like the insurance doesn't kick in until it actually launches or something, so it has to be covered under some other thing.
Right.
So it's imagine that if it just wasn't insured. Yeah. Well, this is another thing. So
Facebook got so much money.
Yeah,
it's more the effort and time of the engineers and everyone put work into it that's just gone down the drain.
The company that operate the satellite, Spacecom, I think it is, they don't have as much money as Facebook do.
No.
So this is a big deal for them, and their website, the day of the incident, was still covered in launch of Amos-6 and the little embedded video of the SpaceX launch webcast, and everything was on there. Even after it happened, it's just it's kind of tragic to look at.
Yeah,
but yeah. So this is one other thing that's worth pointing out, is that no other launch providers do these static fires.
Ah,
it's a SpaceX thing. They just want to be absolutely sure that everything's fine.
But it's
and they give the customer the option of whether they have the payload integrated when they do the static fire, and it gives the customer opportunity to like run their own tests on their satellite or whatever during the kind of dress rehearsal for the launch. So, and it also apparently saves time as well to have it integrated then and all that stuff. But they would have had the option to not have it integrated, in which case obviously it wouldn't have been lost. But
that's rough.
Yeah.
It's interesting because that you're putting your equipment at risk by static firing it, but you're also maybe increasing the chance the mission won't have problems once it gets into space.
Yeah.
Or once it fires. There's a balancing act. I don't know. I wonder if they'll reconsider that static fire procedure.
Yeah, I don't know.
And not do it so often, or not do it as like a default. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's actually not worth the risk.
I mean,
would this
have been any? It wouldn't have had really any difference if it had happened just on the launch day. It would be exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Would have just happened, and
it would have just blown up.
It would have just blown up the same,
Well, it depends what the error was. I mean, we'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out if it's. I mean, I wonder if is it worse than the last one. It's not really any. It's. I don't know. I feel like the CRS-7.
CRS-7, yeah, that was the one that...
The other one that blew up. Is this a worse
This is kind
situation?
of worse. I don't know if it's worse in terms of like reputational cost or whatever to SpaceX.
It's not as much of a shock as the first one.
Yeah.
Because they hadn't had any failures at that point.
I was watching that live and Jesus Christ, that was...
I could not believe that.
Yeah. No, it's worse in the sense that, they lost the vehicle and the payload, but also just damaged the launch pad and, who knows how much... money. Is it
better? Sorry, that it's not in flight.
Probably not. I don't think it's any.
It's all contingent on what the error is, right?
Yeah.
If it's a problem with the fueling system that it's not related to the structural integrity of the vehicle or some larger problem, then whatever that result is going to determine how much of a problem this really is and how much worse an incident this is for everyone involved. In terms of monetary loss, and I mean, I don't know the value of difference between these, CRS-7 and this one, but in terms of everyone involved, they've lost that mission, so it's the same failure essentially.
Yeah, essentially,
the same thing, and it's not good for SpaceX's statistics.
No, that's a real kind of like, one of the kind of sad parts of it.
Kick in the arse.
Yeah, it is. Well, I just got to hope that this is whatever the error is something that they can just engineer out from now on, and it will never happen again.
Yeah,
basically.
So do you think this will affect the MCT announcement?
Yeah, good question.
Someone asked us that on Twitter, I think.
Yeah.
I'll find the tweet.
Yeah, tricky. I mean, I sort of feel like it will. I sort of feel like...
Well...
I don't know. You can see it both ways, I think. So say they go ahead and do it anyway, this MCT announcement.
Yeah.
Which is only in a couple of weeks. So it could be... You could say, okay, if they go ahead and do it, it could actually have the effect... So it could have one or two effects, right? It could either be seen as people thinking...
Do you guys think the Amos-6 rapid unscheduled disassembly will change the tone of the IAC keynote?
This is a question we had on Twitter.
Yeah. Thanks for the question. Yes. So you were saying...
Change the tone of it. Well... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so let's say Elon Musk just goes ahead and does his big unveiling of the Mars... Colonial Transporter stuff at this conference. So like, what effects that going to have in light of this incident? So either people are going to be like,
why are you doing this ridiculous nebulous?
Just not take it seriously at all. This is just crazy. Like almost like a Mars One sort of kind of level. Like like what are you talking about? The difference between what's actually going on with your company right now and what you're saying you want to do is just there's a huge gulf there that just seems completely impossible to...
Yeah, it's going to sound mental, this
nuts.
whole Mars Colonial Transporter thing. So in the wake of this incident, which is a kind of much more grounded, a problem that's at hand, it may seem like it's just a silly thing to be doing. People may criticize the company and Elon Musk for doing the announcement for... and not kind of focusing on just getting stuff into space safely, as opposed to try and send hundreds of people to Mars in some ridiculous new type of rocket and all this sort of things.
Yeah, sure.
But
on the other hand, you think...
I think they'll still go ahead with it.
Yeah, do you? Okay.
I'm
not sure. I can't work it out. I wouldn't be surprised if he decided to not do it. I wouldn't be surprised. But at the same time, I could still, you know, if they do go ahead with it, I wouldn't, you know, I also wouldn't be surprised. I can kind of imagine either outcome at this point.
Yeah. Part of me thinks that they've probably, I mean, maybe it doesn't, the reputation of SpaceX would be what comes first in their decision, I guess, as opposed to not wanting to disappoint the conference people and, you know, people they promised this talk to, essentially. I can't help but think he'll just kind of go the tone. Okay, so the question was, will the tone change? It may change slightly. He may bring up the accident first and say and basically bring to the forefront the points that we just made, that this is a long-term goal, and you know, we realize we have problems now that we need to be dealing with and trying to get our reliability improved, etc., before we go on to this. But if we've got this long-term plan as well,
yeah, and it might actually have the effect of making this seem like less of a big deal in a way. Okay. Just like, okay, we've got this, like, this is our big long-term plan. Yes, there's going to be sort of problems along the way, and we're dealing with them at the moment. You know, that's just part of it. Yeah. We just need to learn about how to do this properly.
Yes.
But this is what we're going to do with it eventually.
And it could also act just as positive press for SpaceX in the wake of having negative press. Yeah. Although it could generate a lot of negative press if people criticise.
Yeah, I mean, the people are going to criticise it anyway. There's always going to be a few people who do that. There'll probably be more people who do that in the wake of this, but yeah, I mean, I can see it happening.
I feel like it will change. I think
the tone will definitely change a bit.
It will change slightly, but it will only be. I don't think that the tone of the entire thing will change. I think once he gets into talking about the Mars Clone Transporter, it's just like all bets are off. It's going to go nuts. It's going to be talking about all these crazy ideas. You know, that's not going to change. I don't think.
It's going to be so.
But I think that there will be something towards the start that will kind of set the kind of ground of saying, you know, that we realise that there are challenges on the way, and we've had this accident recently, and
I mean, maybe by then they'll know a bit about the accident, and he'll actually use that.
That's true.
That part of that talk to talk about it.
Maybe the tone of it will be set by whatever the accident turns out to be. So if it turns out to be a real big problem with the Falcon rocket, and they've got to like redesign half of the second stage, then they may think, I don't know, would they then think twice about even doing the talk, or I don't know.
I mean, he's got plenty of things he could talk about instead, like reuse and landings and, you know, all that stuff.
Sure, that's true.
You know, it's not quite as exciting as
you know what though,
as a Mars. What?
They have a feeling, right, that there's some sort of documentary that's coming out around this time. So I think there's other things, other dominoes around that are supposed to fall down at the same time once this Mars Clone Transporter announcement comes out.
Very true.
And I think those other moving parts may end up just forcing them or convincing them to just go ahead and do the announcement, do the talk as planned, and just have a bit at the start to kind of clear the air.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I can see it. I can see it happening. Again, I think I would be very disappointed if they decided to not do it. Yeah. But I also sort of wouldn't. A part of me wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But I really hope it doesn't.
Yeah, we're talking about, by the way, there's a Discovery channel. What's it called? It's just called Mars.
It's just called Mars, I think.
Basically, it's some sort of docudrama type thing where they go and have some. Oh, we talked about this before, haven't we?
Yeah, I think we've mentioned it.
And it looks like they've had some collaboration with SpaceX. There seems to be some film in there of Elon Musk reacting to the rocket landing and
stuff that nobody's seen.
Stuff that we haven't seen before. And the suspicion is that it may even have sort of CGI versions of the stuff they're going to announce at that conference from SpaceX. So there's a collaboration going on there.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons, for example, why they won't delay that announcement. They'll just kind of go ahead with it.
Yeah.
With some caveats.
That documentary is going to come out. It's not like they're going to delay the documentary.
No, probably not. Well, they may do. I mean, Discovery could just hold it, but I imagine there's too many moving parts to bother with that.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, hopefully SpaceX has some better luck.
Yeah, sad times for SpaceX, but let's hope for, I don't know, a speedy return to flight.